I think it touched everybody's life because it could have been anybody's son.
You know, that could have been any one of us.
Every single person that lost their life, all they did was go to work. They lost their lives just doing what they do.
The children and I awoke about 6 o'clock that morning. It was Anna Claire's first day of preschool, and so they were very excited.
I got up that morning as normal. My husband and I get up at 6 a.m. every day. I came down, I turned the coffee on, fed the dog.
I woke up just a little bit after 7 o'clock. Looked out the window, just kind of noticed the sky looked funny for some reason.
We came downstairs and I started preparing breakfast for them.
My pager went off several times, the phone started ringing, and I knew something had happened. I went and answered the message machine, and it was a very simple message that said, "Turn on your TV."
We have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center.
I turned on the television to check the weather, and the first thing I saw was a plane running into the World Trade Center tower. And I immediately thought about Tom.
Jeff was the flight attendant on the very first flight that was hijacked, American Airlines Flight 11. A couple of his friends said, "Keith, I think he was on that flight. I think he was on that flight." I immediately went into denial, and I just wouldn't believe it.
But Paul called here that morning and woke me up and said, "Mom, that you're going to turn on the TV and it's the other building that was hit, and I'm fine."
I picked up the phone, and it was my mother on the phone, and she was crying on the phone, and she said, "Turn on the TV, New York, there's been a crash in New York."
The key thing was that 18 minutes between when the first plane hit and the second plane hit.
But they were getting mixed messages.
They were getting mixed
to not
messages.
leave. It was safer in the building than, you know, being out there with debris falling.
The glass, just flames exploded out the front of the World Trade Center. Glass flew everywhere.
That 18 minutes of hesitation ended up costing them their lives.
That was the second plane that had crashed into the building, and I said, Jack works pretty close to there, but he doesn't work in the building. He worked at One Liberty.
I responded into work because it wasn't a matter of if we were going to go, it was a matter of when we were going to go.
I talked to him, he said, "Dad," he said, incredibly, he says, "they're not telling us to leave." He was a little bit shaken because he said, there are people jumping out of the 100th floor of the building. He said, I can't imagine that.
He's really upset. He's seen people jump out of the buildings. He sees blood on the ground. And that he says it's total chaos and that he's getting out of his building. They're evacuating.
He was on the 90th floor or somewhere thereabout that morning in the South Tower. He said, I'm okay. He goes, "We think a twin-engine Cessna hit the building," and I could hear a lot of commotion in the background, a lot of voices, a lot of obvious, I would assume, evacuation process at that point. And he said, "I have to go." And he hung up and went.
And I called my children and told them that Daddy was, on his way home. Didn't think it would have affected me at all. Not in the least.
When we found out where the planes were from, I thought, okay, this is it. I mean, this is horrible, but Nicole's not on those flights. I'll go ahead and get ready to go to work.
They kept talking about American Airlines. I never heard them say United.
It felt just a few moments ago like there was an explosion of some kind here at the Pentagon.
his plane hit the Pentagon, and from what I was told, they moved everybody to the back of the plane. And I can only imagine my father was fighting for his life at that point.
I found out that the plane had went into the Pentagon. So I'm saying, okay, well, that's 3 planes. But I still had not heard anything about United.
The telephone rang in on call waiting, and I looked at it and I saw that it was Tom's cell phone. So I clicked over and immediately said, "Tom, you're okay?" And he said, "No, I'm not."
The phone rang about 8 minutes later, and it was John, and he was, I wouldn't say a panic kind of sound in his voice. It was more adrenaline, high energy, breathing kind of heavy.
They advised us to leave because we have... Oh my God. Look behind us. Please pan in this way. Please be careful of your baby. This is it.
That's the building coming down.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. No.
I was just crying hysterically and just said, "I want you to come home. I want you to come home." And that's all I could say. And he just said, "I know, Lori, but I've got really big problems here." And the line went dead.